Katt Williams didn't just sit down for another interview. He lit a match and tossed it straight into one of hip-hop's most talked-about family legacies. While the internet was busy laughing at 50 Cent trolling King Harris online, Katt Williams pointed everyone in a completely different direction. According to him, this was never just about jokes, memes, or another celebrity feud. He hinted that something much deeper has been brewing behind the scenes for years. And if even part of what he suggested is true, this could become one of the most explosive cultural controversies we've seen in a long time. Because this isn't being framed like a rap beef. It's being framed like a long game. A patient, calculated, personal war. To understand why people are losing their minds over this, you have to look at the players involved. On one side, you have T.I., a man who built himself into more than a rapper. He became a brand, a family patriarch, a reality TV figure, a businessman, and for many fans, a symbol of Atlanta's rise in mainstream hip-hop. For years, he presented an image of growth, leadership, and legacy. He wasn't just making music, he was building a dynasty. On the other side, you have 50 Cent, one of the most strategic and relentless personalities the entertainment world has ever seen. 50 doesn't simply mock people. He studies them. He waits. He applies pressure in public and lets the internet do the rest. Over the years, he's built a reputation for dragging opponents into media chaos and leaving them there. That's why people are taking Katt Williams' comments so seriously. He didn't make it sound like 50 was joking around for content. He made it sound like 50 has been sitting on information, waiting for the perfect moment to use it. And that's where this story starts to feel less like celebrity gossip and more like psychological warfare. According to the wave of online reactions following Katt's interview, many fans now believe 50's recent focus on King Harris was never random. It wasn't just trolling a celebrity's son for attention. It may have been a direct pressure tactic aimed at T.I. himself. King became the target, but the real message may have always been for the father. That's what made Katt's comments feel so chilling. He implied that when someone like 50 starts getting this specific, this personal, and this public, it usually means he believes he already has the advantage. And once that idea hit social media, everything exploded. Suddenly, people weren't just reposting clips. They were digging. Old interviews started resurfacing. Past legal issues were brought back into the conversation. Every post, every caption, every live video, every old family moment got re-examined through a new lens. Fans, gossip pages, and commentary channels all started asking the same question. What does 50 think he has? That question is what turned a feud into a frenzy. The most viral theory online is that this situation goes back much farther than people realized. Not months, not a year, years, maybe over a decade. That idea alone was enough to send the internet into overdrive. Because if that's true, then this isn't impulsive. It's strategic. It means every jab, every meme, and every public taunt could be part of something much bigger. Katt Williams poured gasoline on that theory by suggesting there are layers to this story the public still hasn't seen. He didn't present a neat timeline. He presented a sense of danger. He made it sound like there are private conversations, buried tensions, and hidden betrayals hovering over this whole thing. Whether that's true or not, the damage was immediate. Social media began treating the Harris family like they were standing at the edge of a cliff. Every move T.I. made started being analyzed for signs of panic. Every post from King Harris started getting flooded with comments. Fans began debating whether this was simply another round of internet messiness or whether a real personal and reputational collapse might be unfolding in front of everyone. And this is where the emotional center of the story hits hardest. Because once a family gets pulled into a public narrative like this, it's no longer only about music or ego. It becomes about image, loyalty, trust, and survival. If someone is really leaking private information, if someone close has really been talking, or if old private issues are being weaponized in public, then this stops being entertainment very quickly. That's why people were so rattled by one of the darkest ideas floating around online after Katt's interview. The possibility that the danger isn't only outside the house. It could be inside it. That theory sent people into detective mode almost instantly. Users started combing through old footage from family appearances, live streams, podcast moments, and backstage clips, looking for signs of tension, awkward pauses, or anyone who seemed too close, too quiet, or too invisible. In the age of internet obsession, one suggestion of an insider is enough to create a full-blown digital manhunt. And once that started, the conversation took on a life of its own. Now, the public isn't just asking whether 50 Cent is exposing something. They're asking who may have helped create the opening. They're asking who benefits if the Harris family image cracks. They're asking whether this is a media play, a revenge play, or something even uglier. Meanwhile, 50's silence, or rather, his selective silence, has only made things more intense. That's part of his pattern. He rarely explains himself fully. He hints. He posts. He lets people build the mythology for him. And in situations like this, that can be more powerful than a direct statement. Because silence from the right person, at the right time, can sound louder than a speech. That's exactly what's happening here. Every vague post, every indirect jab, every resurfaced clip is being treated like a clue. The internet has turned this into a giant puzzle, and everybody wants to be the first one to solve it. But there's another reason this story has hit such a nerve. It taps into something people have always been fascinated by: the distance between celebrity image and private truth. For years, T.I. and his family represented a polished version of success, reinvention, and visibility. Reality TV helped make them feel familiar. Fans didn't just consume the music, they consumed the household. They watched the family dynamic, the parenting, the branding, the public growth. That kind of visibility creates loyalty, but it also creates vulnerability. Because when your brand is family, any threat to the family becomes bigger than a threat to your career. It becomes symbolic. That's why the backlash online has been so intense. Some people think 50 Cent has crossed a line by targeting a family structure rather than just an individual. Others think the entire situation is a long overdue reckoning, and that public figures who build empires on image should be prepared when the internet starts testing the foundation. Those two sides are now at war. One side sees this as cruelty for entertainment. The other sees it as exposure. One side says this is a smear campaign. The other says where there's this much smoke, there has to be something real underneath it. And Katt Williams, whether intentionally or not, has positioned himself right at the center of that storm. He didn't just comment. He escalated. He took what could have remained a messy online spat and reframed it as a possible collapse waiting to happen. That's why his interview hit so hard. He spoke with the kind of certainty that makes people wonder whether he knows more than he's saying. That uncertainty is now driving everything. Fans want proof. Critics want consequences. Gossip blogs want updates every hour. Commentary channels are treating every new social media move like a courtroom exhibit. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise is a family whose name is now attached to one of the most intense rumor cycles in entertainment media. The biggest question now is simple. What happens next? Does 50 actually have something serious? Or is he winning purely through pressure and suggestion? Was Katt Williams speaking from insider knowledge? Or was he amplifying internet mythology into something even bigger? Will T.I. respond directly? Or will silence be a strategy? And what does all of this mean for King Harris, who has now been pulled even deeper into a public firestorm that may be much bigger than him? Those are the questions keeping this story alive. Because right now, nobody feels like this is over. It feels like a countdown. It feels like everyone is waiting for a post, a leak, a denial, a recording, a live stream, or a statement that finally pushes this from rumor into something more concrete. Until then, the internet is going to keep doing what it always does: speculate, exaggerate, investigate, and divide. And maybe that's the real story here. Maybe the most powerful weapon in modern celebrity culture isn't proof. Maybe it's suspense. Maybe it's the suggestion that something devastating could be coming, and the public's willingness to believe it before they ever see it. That's why this story has become so massive. It's not just about T.I., 50 Cent, King Harris, or Katt Williams anymore. It's about power, image, loyalty, and the chaos that erupts when public legends start turning on each other in front of millions of people. For now, all eyes are on what comes next. If nothing drops, this may go down as one of the wildest viral escalations in hip-hop commentary history. But if something does drop, something real, something undeniable, then this could become a defining media explosion that reshapes how people view everyone involved. Either way, the pressure is on, the internet is locked in, and the silence between posts is getting louder by the hour. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think this is just another example of 50 Cent being a master troll? Do you think Katt Williams knows more than he let on? Or do you think this whole thing is being blown into a spectacle far bigger than the truth? Drop your thoughts below, because this story is moving fast, and if anything major breaks, everyone is going to be watching.